Hi, my name is Malachi, and I'm going to be your instructor in this Ruby on Rails course. In this course, you're going to learn everything you need to build websites with Ruby on Rails. Rails is a famous web framework, and companies like Shopify and GitHub use it to build amazing websites. So if you're looking to be able to create a website like Instagram or Airbnb on your own, Ruby on Rails is for you. In this course, I'm going to teach you everything you need to get started with Rails. We're going to talk about all the core concepts in Rails, and then we're going to build 3 Rails projects together. Here's the first project we're going to build. We're going to learn how to create this beautiful website for a link sharing website, exactly like LINKTREE. Now, if you have never built a website before, don't worry. I will teach you everything from scratch. My name is Malachi, and I'm a software engineer with 5 years experience, and I've taught over 10,000 people how to code. I'm super excited to be teaching you Rails in this course, so I hope you stick around and learn this powerful web framework. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do to get started is to install Ruby on Rails. There are a few dependencies that we have to install first. The first one is called NODEJS. All we have to do is go to nodejs.org, and then we just have to download. I'm going to download for Windows because that's the operating system that I'm on. Click on LTS because LTS is the one that stands for long-term support. So once it's installed, go ahead and open it up and then run the file. I already have it installed, but I'll just run it anyway. Couldn't do any harm. So click next, then click I accept and next, and then just click next again. And then just click install. So Node.js has been successfully installed. Let's click finish. The next one that we have to install is called Yarn. Remember, I have the links to these websites in the description, so just check out the description and then you can click the link. For now, I'm just going to search up Yarn download Windows, and then we can click on the installation. And then I'm going to click on alternatives, and I'm just going to click on download installer. I'm going to click on Windows because I'm using Windows, and then that's it. So again, you're going to need to run Yarn by double clicking. Now again, I already have Yarn, so it's actually not going to let me install it this time, but you would just click next and next and next and then finish, and then Yarn would be installed. So after you've installed Yarn, there's a few more things to do, and first of all, we're just going to go to railsinstaller.org, and this is one of the main things that you have to do, and I'm just going to click on Windows Ruby 2.3. So this website just hosts a bunch of packages that you need to install Rails. Ruby 2.3 isn't actually the current version of Ruby, so what we're going to have to do is update the version of Ruby. So once it's installed, I'm just going to double click it again just to show you, and then I'll click next, and you'd click install here, and then that's it. I'm going to click install just to make sure that I'm with you and we have the same setup. Okay, so now I'm just going to click finish, and then the Rails installer will be installed. Okay, so now we have all the packages for Rails. What we need to do is install the newest version of Ruby. So let's go to RUBYINSTALLER.org, and then I'm just going to click on the one in bold, and you need to click on the one in bold as well. So just click on that one, and then it will install, and then we're going to run it, and then it will install the latest version of Ruby. It will automatically overwrite the Ruby that we just installed. If you're ever looking to update to the latest version of Ruby, you just come to this website and you get the latest one. So I'm going to click install for all users, and then I accept the license, and then make sure that this one is clicked, add Ruby executables to your path, and this one as well. Click install and next. Okay, so now just click finish, and now this command window pops up. We're just going to click enter, and it's going to install the necessary components. And then just click enter again once it's finished. Click enter again, and then it goes away. Okay, and then just open up a new CMD window by typing in CMD command prompt, and then run gem install Rails, and that should install Rails globally on your system. So as you can see, it's installing. For me, I'm in my users directory. I'm in the POVA directory. Okay, so everything has successfully been installed, and just to verify, we're going to run the command rails-v. V stands for version, and let's see what it says. And it says Rails 7.0.4.3. Now we're going to say ruby-v, same thing, just to check our version of Ruby, 3.2.2, perfect. Then we're just going to check yarn-v, it gives us our version, and then you can just run the command node-v, and it gives us our version. If you're not getting your version, that means it's not successfully installed, so just make sure that you have everything installed. Okay, so now it looks like that we have everything installed to get started developing with Rails. This is so good, and I'm so excited to get started. Okay, so to start a new Rails project, what we need to do is open the command prompt. So I'm going to go into CMD and open it. Then we're going to go into the location where we want our Rails project to be. So this should show you where I want my Rails project to be. I'm going to open File Explorer, and then I'm going to go to Documents, and I have a folder called Projects, and it's here. So we're going to go there. So I'm going to say CD, which stands for Change Directory, and we're going to say go into Documents, and then /projects, and this is the folder where I want my Rails project to be. Then, to create a new Rails project, what we have to do is say Rails new, and then the name of our application. With this command, you can also specify the database that you want to use, or even if you want to add Tailwind or Bootstrap, which are CSS CDNs or CSS libraries. But for us right now, we are not going to be using those, and so we're just going to say Rails new, and then the name of our project, which is going to be called LINKTREE clone. So the name of our project is LINKTREE clone, and I'm going to hit enter. Now Rails is creating a new application, and this is going to take a little bit of time, not too much time I hope. As you can see, it's already creating loads of files, and then I'll see you once the application is created. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is cd into the Rails project that we just created. So do cd LINKTREE clone, and then we're going to open it in VS Code. So if you're in command prompt and you have VS Code, you can just do code dot, and then we'll open it in VS Code, and as you can see, the folder opened in VS Code. VS Code is my favorite code editor, and I believe you should use it. If you use it, our projects will be alike, and you won't get any errors with your VS Code, with your code editor, and it'll just be a way simpler process for you. But in this video, we're going to learn about the MVC architecture. Rails is an MVC framework. What that means is Model View Controller. Now, as you can see, lots of files and folders were generated. Don't be scared or daunted, this is okay. We're mainly going to be working in the Model View and Controller, because Rails is an MVC framework. Now let's go into App, and here is where the Model View Controller is. So as you can see, controllers, this is the folder for all of our controllers, so we can have like an application controller. If we were making YouTube, we might have like a videos controller, but we're not making YouTube, we're making LINKTREE. So that's the controllers folder. Then you also have the models folder. If we were making YouTube, we would have like a video model, and then we have the views folder. This is where our actual web page is, so like the HTML, CSS. In this case, in Ruby on Rails, we use html.erb. Anyway, let's learn about MVC. So we have controllers, models, and views. The view is the end product. This is the web page that you're served. The model is the thing that brings the web page to you. It's the thing that houses all of the data. So let's imagine a video. The video model has lots of data. It has the title, has the description, and has the actual video itself. Then the controller is the thing that actually controls all of this and sends it to you. So let's say from the views from the web page, you send an action to the controller to create a new video. This is the thing that actually creates a new controller and adds it to the database. So that's the Model View Controller architecture. We're going to talk about it more in the future, so don't be worried if you don't understand it now. Okay, so in this video, we're going to make our first page in Ruby on Rails. This is going to be one of the most exciting parts of this course. But first of all, let's start the Rails server. So go into command prompt into the LINKTREE clone folder, and we're going to say Rails S. This S stands for server, and this is how you start the Rails server, so you can actually view your web page. Then you open your browser. I'm using Brave, and we're going to see our web page. And because it's the first time we're starting the server, it might take a little bit of time. And as you can see, it says here, listening on http://127.0.0.1 port 3000. And so all we have to do is enter that into the URL, and then it's going to work. So what we're going to do is copy and then paste into the URL, and let's see what we get. Okay, so as you can see, everything is working. We get the Rails logo, the Rails version, the Ruby version. Everything is working. You should be very happy because this means that we installed Ruby on Rails very well and our application is up and running. Now in this video, we're going to create our first page. So what we actually have to do is stop the server, because I just showed you how to do it. And to stop it, all you have to do is press Control-C. So to stop the server, press Control-C at the same time. You're going to have to press it twice. Then what we're going to do is do another command, and this command is going to be called Rails G controller home, and that's the name of the controller. So we're saying create a controller called home, and then we're gonna give it a method called index. So hit enter on that command, and then we'll see what we're given. And as you can see, it created a bunch of things. What did it create? Well, it created one controller called home controller. Okay, we already knew that. It created a root, more on that later. It created a view, another view, and a test unit, and then another test unit, a helper, and another test unit. And so now what we're gonna do is start the Rails server. And then we're gonna refresh the page and see if anything happened. Refresh the page, and as you can see, nothing happened. In fact, I'm gonna reload again because it doesn't work. So yeah, refresh the page and nothing happens. So what we need to do is go into VS Code and change that. So first of all, we're going to go into config and roots.rb. I said more on that later, this is now. So this is the file where we define the roots. Essentially what a root is, it's like a road between two places. In this case, we're using the view and the controller. That's the road between the two of them. So we need to create a road between the view and the controller. What view and controller am I talking about? Well, the ones we just created with that command. So let's go to app, views, and home. This is a new folder that we just created. It created a new folder with that command. And inside we have an index page. This is the new page that we just created. Then we go to controllers, and we have a home controller. Inside there's an index method. This is all because we ran that railsg controller home index command. Now what we're going to do is go to config and then roots.rb. So go to config, roots.rb, and what we have to do is define a root for the page. So as you can see here, it says define the root path root. And what we need to do is say root, and in our case, our controller is called home. So we have to say home #index. If we save this file and then refresh the browser, it's going to work. Let's see what happens. Moment of truth. Okay, you get permission denied. If you get this permission denied error, all you have to do is refresh the page again. I believe this happens because we're not running the server with administrator, but all you have to do is refresh the page and it works. And as you can see, we get this page, and let's go. Okay, so this is working. It says home #index, find me an app, views home /index.html.drb. So let's go to that file. So views home index. And this is the file that we just created. So that's your first page. Let's go. We can add anything we like. We can say oogie boogie. Oogie boogie. And save and refresh. And as you can see, it will work. Very nice. That's your first web page with Ruby on Rails. Perfect. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to share with you the feature that made me fall in love with Rails. And this is scaffolding. Scaffolding allows you to 10x your pace by normal coding, but with Rails. Basically, it's a command that lets you create a CRUD layout. CRUD stands for create, read, update, destroy. Imagine we have a blog post. The 4 actions that we can deal with this blog post: we can create it, we can read it, we can update it, or we can destroy it. Rails allows us to achieve this in one single command. So we can create a blog post with the title and description. With one single command, we can create, read, update, and destroy it. That's my best way to explain scaffolding. So let's give this a go. What we're going to do is go into our command prompt. I'm going to stop the server from the last episode, and I'm going to create a new command. So it's going to be called Rails G scaffold, and we're going to call it tree. And this is the name of our scaffold. Now, after you set the name of your scaffold in the command, don't hit enter yet. After you set the name of the scaffold in your command, you have to set all of the attributes in your scaffold. Now, in our particular case, these are the attributes that we want. You can add more in the future, so it's not a big deal right now, but it is easier to add them now, not in the future. And so for starters, we're just going to add these 6. We're going to say name, and you also have to add the type that you want it to be. So name is a string. If you don't know your programming types, well, here's the lowdown. String means characters, letters, and numbers. The next attribute is going to be called X, string for Twitter, then Instagram, string for Instagram, then YouTube, string, because remember, we're creating LINKTREE, so we want the user to be able to upload their URL and their social medias into these attributes. User_ID, integer, and then style, string. Now we're going to hit enter on this command and lots of crazy things are going to happen. Millions, well not millions, but lots of files are going to be created. So let's hit enter and see the madness. This is the most exciting command and you're going to be amazed after this. Unless you've already seen it before, in which case you'll still be amazed. Now as you can see, I created lots of files. And the next command that we have to run is a command that you always have to run after you run this command. And it's called Rails DB migrate. What this does is migrate the pending migrations to the database. We're going to run it and then I'll explain a little bit more to you because it's very extremely vital important. I cannot stress this enough. But let's just wait for the command to run. As you can see, it says create table trees. Now let's go into VS Code and check this. So where did it create this table? If we go into the DB folder, we see the schema.rb. This was just created because it's the first time we ran a migration. Then we see this create table trees. This is the scaffold we just created. These two attributes are default and they come with every scaffold. And here are the other 6 that we added beforehand. Now I haven't even shown you the magic of this scaffold, but I'm going to show you now. So what we need to do is go into app, assets, or no, not assets. We need to go into views, index, and what we need to do is to create a new link to the scaffold. As you can see, if we go into controllers, it created a new controller, it created a new folder, and it created a new model as well, a tree model. It created all of the necessary things for a new page, new pages in fact. So what we're going to do is create a link to that page. So let's do that. We're going to say embedded Ruby, which means we're using Ruby now. So look at it. So we're saying smaller than sign, then percentage sign, then equal sign. If you don't add the equal sign, then that means we're not going to render what's inside of the embedded Ruby. This is good for like if statements because you don't want to render an if statement onto the page. But we do want to render the link, so we're going to use an equal sign. And we're going to say link to, and we're going to say new tree. Now, is that good? Well, no, that's not good because we just have the link, but we don't know where to actually go. So let's add where we actually want to go. So we're going to say new underscore tree. Now, is that good? No, because after every root, this is the root, we need to add underscore path. Now, where did I find this root? How do I know about this new tree? Well, there's a place where you can find all of the roots, and I'm going to show you after this video. So let's save this file, and then let's go to the browser, and then let's refresh the page, and let's see what happens. And I forgot to start the server because I'm a noob. I'm just joking. I've been using this framework for a few years now. I know what I'm doing. Please don't attack me. Anyway, start the Rails server. And then refresh. As you can see, we have a link here. Let's press it. And as you can see, we get a new page we have not seen before. We did not code this. We did not code this. All we did was run a simple command up here. It created all those files. And look. I can add a new tree. MalachiRails is the name. That's my name. New X. I'll just add the Instagram link for all of the links. And then user 3 style. We'll just create the tree. And as you can see, it's created and saved to the database. This is inside of the database. It's not going to be destroyed ever unless you click destroy, obviously. So let's click destroy. Why not? No, before we do that, let's edit it. So I can show you we just edit it. And when we click update, and it updates. Everyone can see this. Everyone can see it, and everyone can destroy it or delete it. Destroy stands for delete. So we can press show and then delete. This is the power of Rails. This is the power of scaffolding. It's extremely cool. This page, these 4 pages, were created just from that one command. That's why I like this so much. This is the beginning of our LINKTREE clone. In the next video, I'm going to teach you about Rails roots, so let's get onto that now. Okay, so in this video, I want to teach you about Rails roots, because in the last episode, we created this link, and you don't know how to create this new tree path if you're a new beginner. So I want to teach you about Rails roots. So let's go to the command prompt. Then let's stop the server, because to run a command, we have to stop the server. And then let's run a new command, and let's call it Rails roots. Then hit enter, and this is going to show us all the roots. But it's not so simple. And I'll show you why after the command is run. as you can see, it gave us a mountain of things. Look at all this. And these are the roots. As you can see, it gives us the URI pattern. When I was a beginner, I didn't understand this, so don't worry if you don't understand it either. But if you've dabbled in other frameworks, then you might understand it. Currently, the only two roots that we really have are the new tree root and the home index root. Apart from that, you have to have the variables. So as you can see here, it says ID, 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 ID. And for that, you need to have the specific tree in mind. So imagine you have like LINKTREE 1, LINKTREE 2, LINKTREE 3. Well, you need to have the specific one in mind to link to this. And you're not going to have that variable unless you've already created the tree, but we haven't done that. But anyway, these are the roots that you have, and every root ends in _path. So remember that when you're trying to create a link. Now in the next video, we're going to do something way cooler than this. We're going to add user authentication. Yes, we're going to add user authentication. What does this mean? Well, it means that in order to create a tree, you're going to have to sign in and log in. Okay, so in this video, we're going to add a sign in and login feature to our LINKTREE clone. And the way that we're going to do that is with a Ruby gem called devise. Now, what is a Ruby gem? Well, I'm going to put it to you simply. A Ruby gem is a library that helps you code your Ruby on Rails app. So let's go to the website, rubygems.org. This is the website of all of the packages for Ruby on Rails. Not even Ruby on Rails, just for Ruby. But most of them work with Rails. And our one that we're going to be using for user authentication is called devise. So hit devise and hit enter. Then it's going to search, and as you can see, it says flexible authentication solution for Rails with Warden. Now we're going to hit devise, and then we're going to go to the home page, or maybe the documentation. We'll see. Yeah, github.com/hardcombo/devise. Perfect. Then we're going to scroll down, and this is the authentication solution we're going to be using. And what we want to do is add devise. So first of all, we can run this command, or we can add it to the gem file. Now I haven't introduced you to the gem file before, but let's add it to the gem file. So we want to go to the gem file. This is the file that houses all of our packages. In here we already have loads. These come with the default Rails application. What I'm going to do is just delete all the comments because they look ugly and I don't need them because I'm a pro. Okay, and with that, I'm going to add a hashtag and I'm going to say my gems, my custom gems. And we're going to say gem devise in quotes. This is how you add a gem. Then you save the file, you stop the server in the command prompt, and then you hit bundle install. What this does is install all of the gems in the gem file. Basically updates the gem file. As you can see, it says fetching metadata from rubygems.org. And as you can see, it has installed all of these gems, all of this mountain of gems. And at the bottom here, it says using devise 4.9.3. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Next, what we need to do is go back to the devise solution. So it says Rails generate devise install. Okay, let's run that command. Rails generate devise install. So you just follow what it says, and we need to run the generator because this is going to generate some instructions for us. As you can see, it generated 4 instructions for us. So let's do the first one. Let's just read what it says. It says, depending on your application's configuration, some manual setup may be required. Ensure you have defined default URL options in your environment files. We haven't done that, so let's do that now. All we have to do is add this to development.rb, which is another file. So go to config, environments, development.rb, and add this. Actually, it's already there. You don't need to do it. But yeah, it's already there. But I'm just going to add it anyway. Okay. Then what we need to do is go back to the command prompt and follow the second instruction. So tick on the first one. Then it says, ensure you have defined root_URL to something in your config/roots.rb. For example, root2 home/index. Now, that's perfect because if you remember from the last episodes, we have done that here. As you can see, we've done that. So tick on the second one. Then the third one ensure you have flash messages in app/views/layouts/application.html.erb. Now we're going to do that now. So copy these and put them in the app, views, layouts, application.html.erb. This file, this application.html.erb, this one is the one that renders every other view. So it's really important. So if we add this here, it's going to be on every single other page. These are the things that are going to tell us what's happening, like you have successfully signed up or you've successfully logged out. That's what these are for. Now, tick on number 3, and then finally number 4. You can copy devise views to your app by running Rails g devise views. That says not required, but we're going to do it. So run Rails g devise views. And as you can see, it created lots of views for us. And then finally, there's one last command or 2 last commands to create, and that's Rails generate devise model. So we want our model to be user because we want to be able to create, read, update, and destroy a user. So hit enter. This is going to create the user model for devise. Then we're going to run Rails db migrate to migrate everything to the database. And then we're going to have a user authentication in our app. But hold on, we're not done yet. Anyway, run Rails db migrate. Now we're going to run Rails s, check out what our application is saying, and then see if anything has changed. So if we go to 127.0.0.1 port 3000, as you can see, nothing at all has changed. Now what our goal is, this is the end goal. We want to make it so that when you click new tree, it takes you to the sign in or sign up page instead of taking us to a new tree. Because you want to have to sign in to be allowed to create a new tree. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do that. Now the cool thing is with Rails or with devise, you can achieve that with one line of code. So here it is, before action, authenticate user. So let's do that. Copy that line, then go back to VS Code, and let's go to controllers, trees controller. Let's add it up here at the top. Now, we also have to add a little bit more. Down here are all the methods. And as you can see here on the top line, it says set tree. This is another method, but only on these methods. We're going to do the same thing on authenticate user, if that makes sense. So we're going to copy this and go here. And instead of show, we're going to say new. And perfect. That's good. So now we save that. And then if we try and add a tree, we should have to log in and sign up, and it should just all work. So new tree. And as you can see, it takes us to the login page. You need to sign in or sign up before continuing. Isn't this just amazing? We already have user authentication in our application. That's why it rhymes. So let me sign up and I'll show you how this works. So I add my email, mal@gmail.com. Not my real email, but password of 123456. Then again, 123456. Sign up. As you can see, it says, welcome, you have signed up successfully. And then it takes us to to add a new tree. Now, this is amazing. We've already added user authentication in our app. Currently, I'm logged in. Nothing tells me that I'm logged in, apart from this message right here, but I am actually logged in. This is extremely powerful. We can use this to do so many things. But right now, we can't really log in or log out. It's really, the navigation is very bad, if you know what I mean. So in the next episode, we're going to be creating our first partial, and that partial is going to be creating a navbar. The navbar is going to appear on every single page, and it's going to be really cool. So we'll be able to log in, sign up here, all that cool stuff. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to add is a partial, and the partial is going to be a navbar. So first of all, I just want to show you how a navbar works. Then we're going to add features to the navbar like sign in, sign up, login buttons, all that good stuff. So first of all, let's go to our VS Code. Then, inside of layouts, we're going to create a new file. This is where we create our partials. We create them in the layouts folder, in the views folder. That's where partials go. So in the layouts, we're going to say new file. Then we're going to say _navbar.html.erb. This is the Ruby ending, of course, .html.erb. And notice how we start the file with _navbar. This means that it's a partial. Very important. We're not going to be able to render it as a partial unless you add the underscore. So make sure to add the underscore. Then we're going to say, hello, I am the navbar. Just as a joke, just to keep things light. Then what we're going to do is go to application.html.erb. And before the yield tag, we're going to say embedded Ruby equal sign render quotes layouts slash navbar. And then we're going to say save. And then we're going to go to the command prompt. The server is already running, but if your server is not running, make sure to start the server. Then go to the site and refresh. And as you can see, it says, hello, I am the navbar. Now the good thing about this, because I put it in application.html.erb, remember when I said this page renders everything else? Whatever's on this page will be rendered on every other page. So, hello, I am the navbar is on this page. It's on this page. It's on this page. It's on this page. It's on the root page, this home page. It's everywhere. Just like a normal navbar on every website, like Amazon, Apple, they all have the same navbar. It's all the same stuff. So now all we need to do is add features to our navbar. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, I have already created this LINKTREE clone in another project. So I'm going to put the source code online so you can buy it. You'll have it forever. And by there you will have access to all of the styles, the JS, and of course the Ruby on Rails code. But more on that later. Anyway, let's get to adding some features to the navbar. So go to VS Code, and the first feature that we're going to add is a sign up button. So let's say embedded Ruby, link_to, sign up, and then comma, and we're going to say new_user_registration_path. Save, refresh, and let's see what we get. Very cool. As you can see now we have a sign up link, and it says you already signed in because I'm already signed in. Now let's add a sign out button. This is more important and difficult to add, harder to add. So we're going to say link to, and we're going to say log out, comma, destroy user session _path. And remember, we used Rails roots to find out where all of these roots are. It's the same process. And if we save and refresh and we try and use this sign out link, it's not going to work, unfortunately, because we have to add something in roots. Let's use logout. It says no root matches get user/signout. Now what we have to do to fix this is add a root that matches this. So let's go to roots.rb and fix this. So go to config, roots.rb, and then let's fix this problem. So we're going to say devise scope user, and for now just get rid of those two lines. So just copy this. So devise_scope user do get user/signout to devise sessions #destroy. This is matching this root to the devise controller so that it actually logs the user out, and for that reason it works. So if we save that and then refresh, this should work and we should actually be able to sign out. Perfect, signed out successfully. So now our sign out button works, and that's great. Now let's say I want to log in. One way to do it is to press sign up and then finally press log in when you get to the sign up. But a better way to do it is to go home and then add a login button here. So let's add that. So go to the navbar, and then we're just going to copy one of these lines, and we're going to say login, and then we're going to say new user session _path. New user session _path. Perfect. And this should work and take us to the login page. So let's see. So login, and as you can see, it works. So perfect. So we can log in. I'm going to log in using my password and credentials. I'm logged. I'm signed in successfully. Here's the navbar. I'll log out. Perfect. And I can still sign up, but I can still log out. That's weird. I can log out even though I already logged out. That's weird as hell. We need to fix that. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to drag this down here underneath, and we're going to say if statement, if user signed in _in question mark, and then end. So basically whatever's inside of this if statement is the thing that will be rendered if the if statement is true. So if the user is signed in, then we're going to show the logout button. But if he's not signed in, then we're not going to show the logout button. Simple enough, right? Does it work? Yes, it does. Perfect. Okay. So now we've got the navbar down. We've pretty much got the navigation down, but it looks horrible. So I'm going to fix that. And what we're going to do is add a logo to the navbar. So what I'm going to do is go flaticon.com and we can say tree or something. And we can just use this just for a demo, free download. And we can download this PNG. And then we can drag it inside of our application, assets, images, and then it's inside of there. So perfect. Then all we have to do, I'm going to get rid of the hello I am the navbar because that's unnecessary nowadays. I'm going to say embedded Ruby =, to render this. I'm going to say image tag parentheses tree.png. And then this should show the image. So let's see if it works. And as you can see, it does, but it's absolutely massive. So let's reduce that size down a bit. So all we have to do is say comma, style, colon, width, we'll say 100 pixels. You're going to get used to this Ruby syntax. I know it does take a while to get used to. It's so different to HTML. But yeah, you're going to get there. Okay, I did something wrong. I believe this has to go inside of the parentheses. This is the error page sometimes. And as you can see, there it is. Then one important thing that I should show you is the style sheet link tag. So if you want to add a outside of the file CSS link sheet, then you need to go style sheet link tag. And then you just have to say navbar. And then you need to go to style sheets and actually create that file. So we're going to say new file, navbar.css. And this is in assets, style sheets, navbar.css. So I'm going to copy them inside so I don't have to write them all again. So I'll just copy this that I already have, which you can get online if you want. It's not 100% necessary, but you can see the source code, so it makes the whole process a lot easier for yourself. Anyway, I'm going to refresh the page, and this is the new navbar. I'm getting an error. I just have to import the logo, and then refresh. And then I'm missing, and then it works, but I'm missing some colors, because I added some root colors in the root file, so all I have to do is import some colors. As you can see, there we go. And then also I have to go to application.html.drb. And what we're going to do is just take out and put this below the navbar. So put the alert and the notice tags below the navbar. And then there we go. That's better. So now the navbar is looking nice and good. If your one isn't, all you have to do is just style it yourself. It's not too hard. So there we go. That's the first partial created. In the next video, we're going to be doing a lot of styling. So we're going to style the home page, the sign up pages, and the login page. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so in this video, we're going to be styling these pages, the login page, the sign up page, the forgot your password page, and also, well, the login page. Every user authentication page, we're going to be styling it. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to create a new style sheet. And I'm going to go along the process with you a little bit more, but I'm also going to import my own styles. So we're going to call this style sheet. So go to assets and then style sheets and create a new file. We're going to call it devise.css. And in this file, we're going to use all of these for the devise. This is for the devise folder. So we're going to go to registrations, new, and we're going to say style sheet, link tag, and then quotes, and we're going to say devise. Then copy this to the edit, copy it to the sessions. This is the login page. And then also the passwords, new. And that's pretty good for now. Now, first of all, we're going to focus on the registration. So this is the sign up page. Now, as this is not a course on styling and CSS, it's not a front-end course, it's a Ruby on Rails course. I don't want to teach you how to style, as that's not the purpose of the course. And I'm sure you already know how to do it. So if you just want to learn Ruby on Rails, don't style your application. There's really no point. Unless you really want to make it nice and pretty looking and you have OCD like me. I'm just going to copy in the styles that I already have. It makes no difference functionality-wise, it just looks better. For YouTube mainly. So I'll copy in the sign up page. And it goes from this to this. It goes from this to this. It's a bit better. And then I'll do the same for the login and the forgot your password page. And so after all that, this is what it looks like. So we have the sign up page, looking a little bit better. Login page, and forgot your password. Looking nice. All I did was change the styles and it looks magnificently better, significantly better. So that's the end of this video. In the next video, we're going to be styling the actual trees so they look a little bit better. And then after that, we're finally going to get to some fun logic with the trees so that they actually belong to the user and nobody else can delete them. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be styling the trees. The new form, we're going to style that. We're going to style this page. And really, I think that's about it. Oh no, we're also going to style this page, the show page. Not only that, but after this, we're going to add a user ID. So what we're going to make it happen is that you see this form, if we destroy and then we go new tree, you see this user ID form, this user ID text input. We're going to fill that with the current user ID. And then with the current user ID, we can figure out who actually owns the tree, and whoever owns the tree can be the only person to actually destroy it. Currently, anyone who's signed in can destroy this tree, but we don't want that. We want the person who actually made it to be able to destroy it. But first of all, let's style this. So I'm gonna just go into my folder, and here we go. And so it's in trees and form. And so this is the form right here. As you can see, we have all of the text fields right here. So in order not to waste time with styling, as this is the Ruby on Rails course, I'm just going to copy and paste my styles. But again, the process is pretty much the same as the devise. We're going to create a CSS file. We're going to call it trees.css. And then all in here, all you have to do is all of the styling. You have to add a style sheet tag inside of the html.erb files. And then yeah, everything will work and your styling will apply to these files. If you've got the source code and it isn't working, make sure to add jQuery. I add it in the application.html.erb. So just go to layouts, application.html.erb. Take this script tag and then put it here inside of the head. And now as you can see, this part is styled, but this part is not. So I'm going to do that now. And as you can see, now this works. It's successfully styled. I can edit it and the form works and this works as well. And I can change the mode, the style. All right, so the trees are successfully styled. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to change the URL up here. So what we wanted to say is the name of the tree, but currently it says 4, but in the next video, we're going to change it to the name of the tree. All right, so when we create a tree or a link tree, let's enter my name, then click next, then add my Instagram, and then click the style. We're going to say dark mode. As you can see in the URL, it gives us the number that we just created. It gives us the number. Now this is really bad for many reasons. First of all, anybody can see what number of trees we have in our database. That can be bad for security reasons. Second of all, because anybody can see how many we have, that's just bad. Say we only have they know that theirs is the 10th tree. That's not good for the application. So we want to change the URL to the name of the link tree. It's also better because whoever wants to share their link tree to their friends or whatever, or to whoever wants to see it, they need to have their name in the URL. So let's do that now. So we're going to go to rubygems.org, or rubygems.org, not RubyInstaller, rubygems.org. And there's a gem that we're going to use, and it's called friendly_ID. And we're going to go into friendly_ID, and we're going to go to the home page. And then it's going to tell us how to install the gem. And so let's have a see. So add this line to your application's gem file. Now we know what the gem file is. It's just a file with lots of packages. Get rid of that. And then add this line under my custom gems. And then we just have to run the command bundle install. And then we'll update the gem file with everything installed. So let's stop the server. And then let's run bundle install. And then it will install this FriendlyID gem. I believe there should be something else that we have to do after, like in a command that we have to run. But let's just run this bundle install command. Okay, and as you can see, up here, if we look for it, as you can see, it's right here, FriendlyID 5.4.2. Perfect. Now, what we have to do is go back to the documentation as usual. And this is the migration that we have to run. Now, what is a migration? Well, a migration is a file that can change the schema.rb. The schema.rb is a representation of the database, but that's showing the actual data. So as you can see, it has all of the tables, users, and trees currently. Now, we need to run this migration. So let's copy this command, and then we're just going to change it a little bit because we don't want to add the slug to the users. We want to add it to trees. Now, what is the slug? Well, in this case, the slug is kind of the attribute that's going to make it so that we can use the URL as the name. And then the slug is unique, so no two URLs can be the same, because you can't have one URL that's exactly the same as the other, leading to two different places. So let's enter. Okay, and as you can see, a migration was created. And after you run a migration, there's one more command that you have to run, which is Rails DB migrate. Excuse me for that. So let's run Rails DB migrate. This is going to put that file into the schema.rb. The schema.rb is a representation of the database, and that way we can actually work with the slug, which is an attribute that has been created onto the trees table. So let's do this, Rails DB migrate, and we can actually look at the schema in real time. So go to db schema.rb, and as you can see, the migration just migrated, and here's the string slug, and here's the thing that makes it unique. Sorry for the voice crack. Okay, now we can start the Rails server, and as you can see, it gives us some more instructions. It says edit the app models user.rb file as the following. Let's do that. So what we're going to do is go to app models, but we don't actually do the user.rb because we're doing this on the tree. So let's go into tree model and then make sure to add extend FriendlyID. This basically tells Rails that you want to use the FriendlyID gem in here. Basically gets the lines of code that you need in order to be able to use this. So we want to FriendlyID the name and use slugged. That's perfect. Then what we want to do is go to the show method of our trees controller. So let's do that and add this line. So go to the controllers folder, then go to trees controller, then go to set tree. Now the reason that we have to do this is because, and replace that line with this line. The reason that we have to do this is because we need to use friendly.find so that we can actually find it using the string. And instead of user, we need to add tree because remember we're doing this with trees. So that sounds funny, but yeah, we're doing it with trees. And then we're just going to add tree to both of these, save the file, save the model file, and then I believe FriendlyID should be added and the URLs should be better. So let's do that. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is delete my tree, and I got a little error, but it's nothing I can't handle. All I have to do is go to app views trees index, and then all we need to do is just get rid of this line because we have not added that feature yet. So let's just comment out all of these. You comment out embedded Ruby using a hashtag, and we'll refresh, and we should be able to add a new tree. Okay, get another error because I did something wrong. Comment this line out as well. Okay, so the tree was successfully destroyed. Then we're going to create your own link tree. It takes us to this page. Let's create it. So I'm going to add Instagram, then next, and then we're going to make it rainbow mode because why not? And so we're going to click next. And as you can see in the top here, the URL has been successfully changed to MalachiRails, the name of the link tree. That's exactly what we want. If another person makes the same name, which I doubt they will, it's a pretty unique name, then it will just add some characters onto the end of it. So it's no big deal. It handles that for you. Now in the next video, I want to add the feature so that the tree actually belongs to the user. Currently, it doesn't. So we're going to do that in the next video. Let's go. Okay, so in this video, we want to add relations between the user and the tree. Now, what does this mean? Well, first of all, why are we doing this? Well, the reason that we are doing this is because any other user that is signed in can delete my user's tree. And I'm going to show you that in action. So I'm going to create a tree, add light mode, and then what I'm going to do is copy this link, go into Edge, and this is a different browser because if you use the same browser, then it's not going to work because you'll already be signed in. Go to the URL, port 3000. Then I'm just going to sign up with a different email, then add my password, 123456, 123456, create account. And then what we can do is actually go to the URL, enter, and we should be able to destroy it. So let's click delete my tree. And as you can see, a different user just deleted this tree. So we need to fix this problem. Now, one quick simple way to do it is to just go to the app folder, then go to views, then go to trees and show. And then what you want to do is uncomment this line. You won't have it there, but just write this line. If the current user.id is equal to the @tree.userid, then show the delete button, because that means that the user has validated. Now you won't actually have the tree.userid filled, so I'm going to show you how to do that now. So you need to go to trees, form, and then what you need to do, I'm just going to scroll up to wherever it is. I'm going to find it, user_id, there we go. And here is the input field where the user ID is. What you need to do is add value current user.id. That way, this will automatically be filled, and then you can match it against the @tree.userid. You can match the @tree.userid against your current ID to see if it works. Now this is one way to do it, and as you can see, if I refresh, I can no longer delete it. But if I make another tree and then add the Instagram and all this, and then I press next, and then I go into Edge and I try and delete it, it's not going to work. Now it actually gives us an undefined method ID, and this is really important. The reason it gives us this error is because we're not signed in. So what we need to do is to make sure we're actually signed in. So we're going to say if user_signed_in question mark and then end. And that way we'll not get this error. And as you can see, I'm on a different account, but I cannot actually see the delete or edit buttons. So that's good. That's a start. Now this video is about adding relations. So what we're going to do is go to app, models, tree, and what we have to do is say belongs_to the user. What this means is that this tree belongs to the user. And then what we have to do in the user model is say has_1 tree. Now what you can also do is say has many trees. But I don't personally like to do that, as I don't think a user should be allowed more than one link tree. So I'm going to say has one tree, and this is belongs to the user. So perfect. Now that we've done that, we can access things like current user.tree. So what I'm going to do is exit Edge, and what we're going to do is go to the home page of our application. Then what we want to do is create a link to our personal tree. So let's do that now. Go to views, home, index, and what we're going to do is say link to, embedded Ruby, link to, view my tree. And then we're going to say current_user.tree, and I believe that might be enough. And we go view my tree, and it does work. But what we have to do also is just say if current_user. This is another way of saying if the user is signed in. Okay, so perfect, that button works. So now that we've added the relationships between the user and the tree, we can actually make sure that our application is safe, and so another user cannot delete our tree. In the next video, we're going to add a new page called pricing. It's purely going to be for stylish reasons of the website. It doesn't have any functionality at all, but I'm just going to show you how to create it just so we get some more practice with creating pages. Okay, so in this video, we're going to learn how to add a pricing page, sorry. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, why are we doing this? Just to show you how to add a new page in Ruby on Rails. I know when I started out, I didn't know how to do it, and it's really important to know how to do it. So let's do this. So the first thing that we're going to do is add a new method to our home controller. Now, the reason for this is that you need a new method in the home controller. Every page in Ruby on Rails needs a method, generally. So we need to add def pricing and then an end, because every method ends with an end. So we save that file, and now we have a method in the home controller. Then what we need to do is go to views, home, index, new file. We have to call it pricing.html.erb. If we called this a different name and tried to hook it up with the pricing method, it wouldn't work, and we'd have to do some special stuff to make it work. This is the simplest way to create a page. The next thing that we're going to do is go to config roots.rb. And what we're going to do is say get home/pricing. What this is going to do is allow us to actually access this page. So you need the method in the controller, in the home controller. Then you need the pricing actual view. Then you need the root.rb. With all of these things, we're going to be able to access this page. So let's do that. It's going to be an empty page, but you know, an empty page is cooler than no page. So let's go for it. So what I'm going to do is say, if the user is not signed in down here, I'm going to add a new link to. I'm in the Navbar Partial, and we're going to say link_to pricing. And we're going to say home_pricing_path. As you can see, it's already recommending it to me. Class nav link. So it looks like all the other ones. So now we save index, save refresh. And we should get a new link. Why is it not showing? Oh, it's because... yeah, it's because we are actually signed in. So what we need to do is just add this up here. So I can just copy this and put it up here, and then it will show no matter if we are signed in or if we are signed out. So look, there it is, pricing. And as you can see, it's an empty page. Wonderful, empty page. We like that. Now, you could style this yourself. I'll show you how to style it now. Home pricing, then you add like a style sheet here. You just go style sheet link tag, you go pricing, and then you go to assets, style sheets, you add a pricing CSS file. Now, one other thing that you can do is you can use CSS libraries like Tailwind or Bootstrap. I can show you how to add those in the next project, but in this project, I just wanted to keep things very simple. So that's why I'm just using basic CSS. Now, I'm actually going to add a style sheet called pricing CSS because that's what I need. And then I already have, like, what we can do is like something like this, right? We can just add pricing and things like that. And that'll take years. It'll take years to style this page. So what I did was I just went on CodePen and I basically just stole someone else's pricing. I don't think it's stealing. I think it's completely allowed. I can't find it now, but you just go and you find someone else's open source, their open source project of pricing, and then you can just take it on this website, codepen.io. It's fairly handy. Then what I'm going to do is just take the one that I already have. So I'm going to open a new window and then go to the project that I already have. The source code is online. And I'm going to go documents, projects, LINKTREE clone 1. And then just go home, pricing, copy all this, go back to the original one, copy all this in there, and then go to the pricing actual CSS file, copy all this, put it in there, and if with any luck, it should be looking good now. So we're going to go from this page to this page. Perfect. It's looking a lot better. It's looking a lot better. The whims of open source code. Okay, very nice. So, to revise what we learned in this video, we learned that to create a new page, we need to have a controller method. What is a controller method? Well, we're going to go to home controller. This is the controller method. A def with a name and an end. That's the controller method. Now, there's something really important that you need to know. This is really important in Ruby on Rails. So notice how the name of the controller is home controller. And the name of this file is home. And in roots.rb, we say home/pricing, home/index. This is really important. If we change the name of this folder, it wouldn't work. This folder would not know that we actually want to use the home controller. They need to be the same folder name. So as you can imagine, this name corresponds with a folder in the views folder. And then the actual methods correspond with the actual files. I'm sure you grasped that because you're a clever guy, but that's just what I wanted to explain to you. So what do we learn? We learned to create a new page. You have to add a new file, a new method, a new root. And then finally, you have to add an actual link to that page, which you created in link to pricing, home, pricing, path. And the way that we did that was by going to Rails roots and finding out which root we actually want to use. Now, obviously, another way that you can actually find out which root you want to use is by just going into the views. So just go out of the views folder and you go inside you go inside and you see the home, and you want to go into home. So you start the view with home. You start the root with the home word. Then you go inside and you see which file you want to choose. I want to choose pricing, so I chose pricing, and then you add underscore path, and that's it. All right, so I'm sure you learned how to add a new file in Ruby on Rails. Let's go. Now our application is looking a little bit nicer. Although this isn't functional, in one of the next projects, we're going to be able to add pricing. So we're going to be using Stripe, and I'll just click like buy or something, and then we'll transfer money to the account. In the next video, we're going to be styling the homepage because this is looking very basic. I don't like it. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so in this video, we're going to style this homepage. We're mainly just going to add some buttons. We're going to add some logic to make sure the user is signed in and all that crack. And then we'll see what's going on afterwards. So what I'm going to do is just go to this, and I'm going to show you everything I do so you can actually have a see as well, because I don't want you to lose out on everything. So I'm going to copy this code from my already source code, and I'm going to go to app, views, home, index. And I'm going to copy this in. Now let's have a look. We have a style sheet for index. Have we already got that? No, we haven't got that. So let's create a style sheet called index.css. Now let's go back to this index.html.drb. Then we have a row, notice, column 60, column, content container, text content. So we have some text here, and then we say, if user is signed in, if current user.tree.present, view my tree, else create your own tree, end, else create your own tree. So basically we're saying, if the user is signed in, and then that's everything. And then we're saying, if the user is signed in and the user has a tree, then we have a button called view my tree. If they don't have a tree, then we say create your own tree. And if they're not signed in, then we say create your own tree. Because if they're not signed in, then they won't have a tree. So then, let's save this file and let's see what happens. Okay, so it actually works. It works pretty well. But I'm still going to add some styling just to make it better. So I'm going to go here, index CSS, and copy it to this. Index CSS. Perfect. And then let's see what it looks like. It should be looking a little bit better. Yeah, perfect. That's a bit nicer. So there we go. It takes us to our tree. If I delete this tree, then I go back, it should say create your own tree, but it doesn't. Okay, so now it says create your own LINKTREE because I just deleted the one that I have. So now we've styled the homepage, but there's something really important that we have to do. And the really important thing that we have to do is to go to controllers, trees controller, and in the new method, we're just going to add this code. So we're saying if the current user has already a tree, then you say you already have a tree assigned to you, and then you redirect to their tree. But if they don't, then you can actually show the form. So this is going to stop the user from creating two trees. We don't want that to happen because this is going to mess up our logic. So create your own tree, and then I'll create it. Next, Instagram, add the Instagram, dark mode. Great. Then what I'm going to do is go to the URL and try and create another one. And as you can see, it doesn't let me go to that URL when I type in /new. It just redirects me to the tree that I already have. So that's absolutely perfect. That's what I wanted to do. The homepage is now styled. Task completed. Let's go. Okay, hello everyone. In this video, we're going to learn about validations. What are validations? Okay, well, let me click create your own LINKTREE. And let me delete this tree. And then let me create my own LINKTREE again. Now, validations are, for example, let's say I click next. As you can see, it says name must be more than 3 characters long. This is because of the extra JavaScript that I added. But in this video, you're going to learn how to do validations with Ruby on Rails. Specifically, you're going to go in the model and you're going to learn how to do validations. Essentially, validations stop the tree model from going into the database without meeting certain requirements. So for example, I could have the name have to be over 10 characters long. Or I could have the URL have to contain http://. Or I could have the X actually contain X, the X link. So that's what validations are, and I'm going to teach you them in this video. But one important thing that you should know is that ChatGPT is really useful in this case. So what I'm going to do is ask ChatGPT and give you an example of how we can use AI to help us in this case. So what I'm going to say is, give me a way to validate URLs in the model in Ruby on Rails. I have an attribute called Instagram, and I need you to validate that it is a URL. Let's see. So as you can see, if we go into the app models urmodel.rb, well, tree.rb, this code uses the validates method to add a validation rule to the urmodel class. It checks that the Instagram attribute is present and matches the specified regular expression for a valid URL. The regular expression is generated using the URI default parser, which ensures that the URL starts with either HTTP or HTTPS. That's exactly perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we can add this, copy this line of code, and add it to the model. So we're going to understand models. It's really cool. Now, first of all, I just want to show you a different model. So a different validation. So we're going to say validates Instagram presence true. And for now, that's okay. So let's see what happens if I try and create a presence true. Save the file. Let's see what happens if I try and create a tree without adding the Instagram. It's not going to work because we have validated the Instagram and the presence has to be true. So I'm going to add this, add Instagram, but I'm not actually going to add it. I'm going to add YouTube instead. Next, light mode, next. It shouldn't work. And as you can see, it goes back to the start and it says, one error prohibited this tree from being saved. Instagram cannot be blank. So we need to fix that. We need to add Instagram. If we add Instagram, then click next, and then add the mode again, and click next. As you can see, the tree was successfully created. Don't worry, there are just 2 Instagram here's because I added Instagram as the YouTube link. Now, let's go to a little bit more of a complicated validation. It's still pretty simple, but it's a bit more complicated. So I'm going to delete this, and I've just added this. If you just noticed, I just added this, so that has to be starting with a HTTP or HTTPS. So now if I try and create a link tree, and I add the Instagram, but let's say I go something, next, light mode, next, it's not going to work because look, it says Instagram invalid URL format. Now this is still quite a basic validation, but it's handy. So I'm going to do this for validates. We're just going to do it on the name because we can't create the link tree without a name. So instead of that, we're going to say name, and we're going to say, I actually forgot how to add more characters. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So I'm going to say, validate that the name has more than 3 characters. You can't keep everything in your head. I'm sorry. Some things you're just going to forget. And as you can see, all you have to do is say length minimum 4. So look, must be 4 characters, must be at least 4 characters long. So I save this file and then I refresh, and then I try and create a name with less than 4 characters. And that's actually going to give me a few. So I'm going to say mal. Okay, well, I have that validation as well. So I'll have to make this longer. We'll say 5. So mal e, male. Instagram, we're going to add the Instagram this time just so we don't get that error or that validation. And next, name must be at least 4 characters long. Now that's the wrong message. We're going to say 5 characters, but yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what we want. So now that you understand validations, what they're about, I want you to add validations to your application to make it more secure. All you have to do is add validates name, presence true, validates Instagram, things like that. You can also validate images. So if you want to validate the resolution of an image or the type of an image, you can really validate anything. It's so cool. So now that you understand validations, we can get cracking onto the next topic, which is the devise edit user tab. So I haven't talked about it yet, but if we click my account, it takes us to this edit user tab. And we need to be able to edit the email without inputting the password. And that's what we're going to do in the next video. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so in this video, we're going to add this tab. We're going to make it so that you can actually edit the user's account. So you're going to be able to update the password, and you're also going to be able to update the email. So the first thing that we're going to do is go to the navbar, because I haven't shown you how to add this link. So we're going to go to views, layouts, and navbar.html.erb. Then here, up here, we should have a link to, right here. It says my account, edit user's registration path. This is the link that you need to add in order to be able to edit your account. So I'll just type this out with you. So link to embedded Ruby, then my account. Then you need to add the route, which is edit user underscore registration underscore path. And then you need to add the class, which is navlink. So save that file, refresh. I've spelt it wrong, so I just have to go back to it. Registration, there we go, refresh. Now, as you can see, it's there. Now, what we want to do is generate the device controllers. So I'm going to stop the server, and I'm actually going to run this command. So Rails g device controllers users. I believe that's the syntax, but I'm not sure. So when I'm not sure about a syntax, I'll usually just copy the command that I think it is, and then I'll ask ChatGPT. So I'll be like, what is the syntax, correct syntax for this command? That's not how you spell command, but it doesn't really matter. And as you can see, this is the correct syntax. So if we did that command, it would not have worked. Rails generate device controllers users. Perfect. Now press enter. And this is going to be really useful so that we can actually update our account without inputting the password. Anyway, as you can see, it says it created all of these controllers. So let's go down to VS Code, controllers and users. These are the device controllers. They were generated so we can customize them. Now it says, ensure you have overridden routes for generated controllers in your routes.rb. For example, rails.application.routes.draw do device for users controllers. So basically you have to specify which controllers you want to actually use. By default, these are not the controllers. These controllers are there, but they're not being used at the moment. They're unused. So we have to specify in routes if we want to actually use them. So let's go to routes.rb. And so I'm just going to copy this device for, put it into routes.rb, and then we're also going to add registrations users / registrations. And that should be good for now, but I'm just going to make sure by going into my past project. So I'll go to config routes.rb, and these are the ones that we need. So I'll just copy them in routes.rb, and okay. So that's all we need. And now that we've got that one, now that we have got that done, Device is going to be using the registrations controller for the registrations page. Now, we can edit this and make it so that it actually works when we try to update the account. So, let's go back to our clone. Let's go to my account. And I want to, I need to run the server. Run the server, Rails S. S stands for server. And we got an error. And the error comes from me spelling registrations. The error comes from me spelling registrations wrong somewhere. So save that file, refresh, and it should be okay. Let me start the Rails server again. I'm getting another error. Let's see what it is. Invalid route name, already in use. Okay, so it's because we're using the same route twice. So all we have to do is get rid of this. That's what we need to do. Okay, perfect. So get rid of the device for users at the top of the page because we're adding it down here. And then let's go here and refresh. I know, we have to start the Rails server, my bad. So refresh now. And as you can see, it's working. Now, the goal of this video is to be able to edit this email without inputting the password. So look, if I try an email and edit the email now, let's say I add save changes, it doesn't work. Current password cannot be blank. So we're going to go and fix that now, and it's going to be really easy. So I'm going to go and copy code from my own source code that I already have. And it's going to be like this. This def method is going to make it work. So go to controllers, go to your controllers, then go to registrations and write this method. So we're saying def update resource and params. Those are the values that we're taking into the function or the method. And we're saying return super if params password dot present. And this requires the current password if the user is trying to change password. But then we're also saying allow the user to update registration information without the password. So resource.update without password, params that accept current password. So if we save that file, refresh this page, we should be able to change the email. I'm gonna go back. Oh, and it has changed. Perfect. So I can change this to malachirian@gmail.com, save changes, and it changes, although it directs us to the root page. So let's go back. And as you can see, it changed. So now that that successfully works, I've showed you how to edit the account. I've showed you how to get this link to this edit user page. And yeah, that's the video done. The next video, I'm going to show you how to deploy this app online. So other people can see it. We're going to give it its own URL. It's going to be hosted on its own server. It's all going to be completely free using fly.io. Okay, hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be deploying our application. We're going to be deploying it to fly.io. And as you can see on the screen now, I have my deployed application. Everything works. You can sign up. All of the database stuff works. You can sign up. You can create link trees. And yeah, it's good. And it's all free. So without further ado, let's jump right into it and finish this project. So the first thing that we have to do is to change our database that we're using to PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL is just better. It's faster and it's what they use in production. So to do that, the first thing that we're going to do is go and install PostgreSQL. So go to PostgreSQL. I'll include the link in the description, but for now, this is good. I'm going to click on Windows, then I'm going to click download the installer. And that's fine. And then I'm going to click on Windows x86 64. Download this one. As you can see, it's downloading. I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to open it up. Once it's downloaded, double click it. We're going to click yes. And this is going to take quite a bit of time to download. So I'm probably going to stop the recording just so it doesn't get too big in the middle of it. And here's the PostgreSQL setup wizard. Click next, then click next. And make sure you tick all of these because we want to install all of these. So PostgreSQL server, yes. pgadmin 4, yes. Stack builder, yes. And command line tools, yes. Next, next. And finally, next. Okay, so now it's installing. I will see you when it's done installing. Okay, so I've gotten to this part and it says launch stack builder at exit. And we're just going to launch it and we're going to click finish and then click cancel. Now that we've successfully installed PostgreSQL, we can get started on actually changing this. So go to command prompt and go to your folder, your Ruby on Rails folder. And the command that we're going to run is Rails DB system change to PostgreSQL. So hit enter, and this is obviously, it changes the system to PostgreSQL. And there are some more things that we're going to have to do. It says, yep, click yes. Okay, and then it created some files. Now let's see what it did. Well, this is what it did. It went to in the gem file, it added PG, this gem, and it also got rid of SQLite, the previous database. And then in that file config database.yaml, it added this, so now we're using Postgres. What we need to do now is start up pgadmin 4. So go and start up pgadmin 4. You can type it in here. So once pgadmin 4 is started, we're going to click on servers and PostgreSQL. Please enter the password for the user Postgres to connect to the server PostgreSQL 16. Save password, and we're going to enter the password 12345678. Okay. So go to login group roles and then click on Postgres. And we're going to click on this button and we're going to go to password. And our password is going to be 12345678. Save. Now, what we can do here is we can say username, Postgres, because that's the name of the username. Look, in login/group/roles, we're going to be using the Postgres. And then the password is what we just entered. So 12345678. So now, if we try to create a new database, it should work. So let's do it. Rails DB create. And it says database LINKTREE development clone already exists, and that's fine. So we have our databases now, and we can run Rails S. If everything works and the Rails S works, then we've successfully changed to PostgreSQL, and that's great. So I'm going to run the server, go to 127.0.0.1, And yeah, okay. It seems to be working. Let me just try and sign up. So now that we know this is working, we're going to head and actually deploy our app. So this is the service that we're going to be using to deploy our app. It's called fly.io. It's a good service because it allows us to do it for free. You can, of course, use Render, which is another tool that you can use to host your app online. But we're going to be using Fly as I've already done it and it's easy for me. But of course you can use Render. They're both fine. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is search up fly.io for Ruby on Rails. And these are the Fly documentation. So we're going to click on Rails Starter App Guide. And here's what it says. So the first thing that we need to do is to download the Fly CTL. This is their CLI app for managing apps. So this is what you need to do first. Go to their installation guide. I already have it installed. This is the installation guide. You can either run this command. If you're on Linux, run this. And if you're on Windows, run this. You have to run this in PowerShell. PowerShell, you shouldn't already have PowerShell. You're going to have to download PowerShell. So download PowerShell online. Go to the Windows website and then click on PowerShell. So it should be down here somewhere. Here, click on this one, .msi, and it's downloading PowerShell. Then when you get PowerShell, you need to run this command and then it will download the Fly CTL. So I'm just going to show you because it's easy. So PowerShell, and then run this command. I believe it's just, yeah, PowerShell, run this command, enter, and it should download the Fly CTL so we can get started using Fly. By the way, the first thing that you actually have to do before you download the Fly CTL is to sign up. All you have to do is input your email and password and that's it, just sign up. Okay, so Fly CTL was successfully installed to my drive. What's next? Okay, so once you have the Fly CTL downloaded, it's really easy to get this started and your application online. So what you have to do is run the command fly launch. And essentially we are launching the app now, but after this there's one more step and it's going to be called fly deploy. And as you can see, it gives us our organization, Malachi, our name of the app, the region, the app machines, our database, and Redis. Redis is another type of thing, but we're not using it right now. So wait for this command to run, and then I'll be back with you after it's completely run. And then just hit enter if it's not working. And here's an important part. Here are your Rails credentials. I'm going to take a screenshot of those credentials. And so screenshot that with the Windows print scheme. And okay, now we've run fly launch. We have ran the command. Now it's time for fly deploy. After this command, the website should be up and running online and everything should be ready. And it should work. So this is the moment of truth. All of our work over the past hour and a half of this course, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, there's more work for me to do. Of course, it will work. I have faith, but you never know. And it's almost done. We're getting there. Oh my God. I need to add some tense epic music to this. We're about to see our app online. Everything done. Okay. It says visit your newly deployed app at this link. I'm going to copy this link into the browser. I'm going to give it 3 seconds just to make sure everything is online. And I'm going to try it. Let's see if this works. Oh my God, it works. Perfect. Alright, let's see if signing up works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Create. And yeah, I'm signed in. It worked. Let's see if changing the email works. And yep, it works. It's actually blazing fast. It looks like there's an issue that it starts the CSS every now and again. Whenever I press a link, it like resets the CSS or something. But that's not a big deal. Let me try and create a link tree. So YouTube, Instagram, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. There it is. The FriendlyID is working. Everything is working. The Instagram takes me to Instagram. And yeah, that's the project, guys. If you enjoyed learning from this project and you'd like to see more Ruby on Rails projects, let me know in the comments section. The source code for this project is available online. Now that you know how to deploy a project, you can use this as a portfolio website for your Ruby on Rails portfolio. I'm offering a Ruby on Rails mentorship. If you think you'd be a good fit for that, which I do think it would greatly benefit you, then at least check out the link in the description. It's on Patreon. And yeah, big wins all around the chat. I'm so happy I did this. I'm so happy to have taught you this course, this project. If you like this video, then subscribe, and then I'll see you in the next one.